Welcome to an in-depth exploration of one of the pivotal figures in early American history, Myles Standish, the Puritan soldier whose military acumen and steadfast leadership were instrumental in the establishment and survival of the Plymouth Colony. In the early 1600s, Europe was a continent embroiled in religious and political turmoil. The Dutch Republic fought fiercely to liberate itself from Spanish dominion in what would be known as the 80 Years' War, 1568 to 1648. England, under the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, extended its support to the Dutch cause, dispatching troops to aid in the protracted conflict. Amidst this backdrop of strife and upheaval emerged Myles Standish, born in 1584 at Duxbury Hall in Lancashire, England. Standish hailed from a lineage steeped in military tradition and ecclesiastical prominence, a family that traced its roots back to the Norman conquest. Notably, a member of the Standish family served as an archbishop during the reign of Henry VIII, reflecting their significant societal standing. Standish himself was characterized by his martial prowess and fiery disposition. Described as a man of short stature, with blazing red hair and an equally intense temper, he possessed an indomitable spirit that would not be quelled by adversity. At the youthful age of 18, Standish joined the English forces in the Netherlands, participating in the efforts to repel Spanish encroachment. Serving under Queen Elizabeth's directive, he honed his military skills alongside compatriots such as Captain John Smith, who would later play a crucial role in the establishment of Jamestown, Virginia, in 1607. Standish's experiences in the Netherlands were formative. He engaged in numerous battles, often recounting in later years the valorous deeds performed with his fine Damascus sword, a weapon symbolic of his dedication to the art of warfare. The cessation of hostilities between Spain and the Dutch Republic in 1609, marked by the 12 Years' Truce, presented a turning point for Standish. Rather than returning to England, he remained in Holland, where he encountered a group of English separatists in Leyden. These individuals, later known as the Pilgrims, had fled England to escape persecution by the Church of England, seeking the freedom to practice their Puritan faith. Standish, though not a member of their congregation, was drawn to the Puritans' steadfastness and resolve. Recognizing the parallels between their spiritual journey and his own quest for purpose, he aligned himself with their cause. In 1620, the Puritans formulated a plan to establish a new settlement across the Atlantic, free from religious oppression. Standish embraced the opportunity for renewed adventure and the chance to safeguard the community in a land fraught with unknown perils. On July 22, 1620, a small contingent set sail from Delfshaven aboard the Speedwell. After rendezvousing at Southampton, England, additional passengers joined them on the Mayflower. However, the Speedwell proved unseaworthy, necessitating a consolidation of passengers onto the Mayflower. Thus, on September 16, 1620, the overcrowded vessel, carrying 102 souls, embarked on a treacherous voyage toward the New World. For 9 arduous weeks, the Mayflower battled the tempestuous Atlantic. The Pilgrims faced relentless storms, scarcity of provisions, and the ever-present threat of shipwreck. Standish emerged as a pillar of strength, his leadership and unwavering demeanor providing solace to those in despair. His role transcended that of a mere military officer. He was a beacon of hope. Clad in his doublet and hose and boots of Cordovan leather, Standish navigated the ship's deck with resolute confidence, his eyes reflecting both determination and empathy. On November 9, 1620, a collective sigh of relief swept over the passengers as they sighted the sandy shores of Cape Cod. However, their intended destination lay further south, within the bounds of the Virginia Company's patent. Adverse winds and treacherous shoals thwarted their attempts to proceed, compelling them to anchor in what is now Provincetown Harbor. Recognizing the necessity of locating a suitable site for settlement, Standish led multiple expeditions to explore the surrounding terrain. In their forays, they discovered caches of native maize, an invaluable resource that would prove essential for their survival, and remnants of abandoned Wampanoag villages, victims of a recent epidemic. Despite harsh conditions and the imminent threat of hostile encounters, Standish maintained a disciplined approach. His strategic foresight was instrumental in assessing the suitability of potential sites, ultimately leading to the selection of a location with a defensible harbor, abundant fresh water, and cleared fields, the site of the former Patuxet village. Before disembarking, the Pilgrims established a social contract known as the Mayflower Compact on November 11, 1620. This seminal document laid the groundwork for self-governance and legal order within the new colony. Standish, though not a signer, due to his non-separatist status, was integral to enforcing the agreed-upon regulations. The winter of 1620 to 1621 proved devastating. The settlers hastily constructed dwellings from rough-hewn logs, their windows sealed with oilcloth in lieu of glass. Exposure to the elements, inadequate nutrition, and rampant disease led to a mortality rate exceeding 50%. Among the casualties was Standish's wife, Rose, whose death on January 29, 1621, deeply affected him. Yet, amidst personal loss, Standish exemplified compassion and resilience. He attended to the ill with a hand as gentle as a woman's, embodying both the warrior's strength and the caretaker's tenderness. In March 1621, a remarkable encounter altered the trajectory of the colony. An Abenaki Sachem named Samoset boldly entered the settlement, greeting the astonished pilgrims with the words, "Welcome, Englishmen." His acquisition of the English language through interactions with fishermen along the Maine coast facilitated communication. Samoset introduced them to Tisquantum, known as Squanto, a member of the Patuxet tribe who had been previously kidnapped and taken to Europe before returning to a decimated homeland. Squanto's linguistic abilities and knowledge of local agriculture were invaluable. He taught the pilgrims how to cultivate maize using fish as fertilizer, a traditional Wampanoag method, and acted as an intermediary with surrounding tribes. Crucially, Squanto facilitated a meeting with Massasoit, the sachem of the Wampanoag Confederacy. On March 22, 1621, Governor John Carver and Massasoit negotiated a mutual defense pact, establishing a peaceful coexistence that endured for over 5 decades. Standish's role in these proceedings was pivotal. His military presence lent authority to the negotiations, ensuring that the terms were respected. This alliance provided the Pilgrims with much-needed security and fostered a climate conducive to the colony's development. Despite the treaty, Standish remained vigilant. Recognizing the volatile nature of colonial native relations, he organized and trained the colony's militia, implementing regular drills and fortifying the settlement's defenses. The construction of a fort on Burial Hill, armed with cannons, was a testament to his strategic foresight. Standish's emphasis on preparedness was not merely defensive, but also served as a deterrent against potential aggression from rival tribes or European interlopers. In 1622, the fragile peace was tested when Canonicus, the formidable chief of the Narragansett tribe, sent a provocative message to the Pilgrims, a bundle of arrows wrapped in a snakeskin, a traditional symbol of warfare. Undeterred, Standish advised returning the snakeskin filled with gunpowder and shot, a clear assertion of the colonists' readiness to defend themselves with superior armaments. This bold response exemplified Standish's understanding of both native customs and the ecological aspects of warfare, effectively dissuading immediate hostilities. The arrival of Thomas Weston's colony at Wessagusset, modern-day Weymouth, introduced new complexities. Unlike the disciplined Plymouth settlers, Weston's men exhibited lax behavior, lacking the scruples and diligence necessary for harmonious relations with the indigenous populations. Their propensity for theft, deceit, and disregard for local customs strained relationships, inciting animosity among the native tribes, a situation that had dire implications for the entire English presence in the region. By early 1623, intelligence reached Plymouth of a conspiracy among certain tribes to eradicate the English settlements. Massasoit, honoring his alliance, warned the Pilgrims of the impending threat. Standish, recognizing the gravity of the situation, led a preemptive expedition to neutralize the aggressors at Wessagusset. In a calculated operation, Standish confronted the conspirators, including the warriors Pecksuot and Wituwamit, known for their disdain of the English and reputations as formidable fighters. During a tense parley, Standish, provoked by their taunts and recognizing the necessity of swift action, engaged in close combat. The conflict resulted in the deaths of the principal conspirators, effectively dismantling the plot and restoring a tenuous peace. Standish's decisive actions, though controversial, underscored his commitment to the security of the colony. His measures were instrumental in deterring further hostilities, reinforcing the perception among native tribes of the colonists' capability and resolve. However, this episode also highlighted the complexities of colonial expansion, the cultural misunderstandings, and the often harsh realities of frontier diplomacy. In 1627, seeking to accommodate the growing population and the need for agricultural land, Standish and several other colonists established a new settlement across the bay from Plymouth, naming it Duxbury after his ancestral home in England. Here, Standish continued to contribute to the colony's governance and infrastructure, serving as an assistant governor, treasurer, and surveyor of highways. His multifaceted roles reflected his adaptability and unwavering dedication to the community's prosperity. Following the loss of his first wife, Standish remarried in 1623 to Barbara Standish, whose origins remain a subject of scholarly debate. Together, they raised a family of 7 children, further integrating into the fabric of the colony. Standish's personal endeavors, alongside his public duties, exemplified the archetype of the colonial settler, balancing the demands of leadership with the aspirations of family life. In 1858, the renowned American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow immortalized Standish in The Courtship of Myles Standish, a narrative poem that wove romance into the historical tapestry. The poem portrays a love triangle involving Standish, his supposed friend John Alden, and the fair Priscilla Mullins. Longfellow, himself a descendant of John and Priscilla Alden, drew upon family lore to craft a tale of unrequited love and chivalry. In the poem, Standish, a stoic military man, enlists Alden to propose marriage to Priscilla on his behalf. Priscilla's famed retort, "Why don't you speak for yourself, John?" serves as the turning point, leading to the union of Priscilla and John. While Longfellow's work enriched American literature and popularized the Pilgrim narrative, historians have scrutinized its veracity. Contemporary records from the 17th century make no mention of such a romantic entanglement. The first public appearance of the story was in 1814, lacking corroborative evidence from primary sources. Moreover, the amicable relations between the Standish and Alden families, as evidenced by land transactions and communal engagement in Duxbury, suggest the absence of prolonged animosity implied by the poem. Myles Standish passed away on October 3, 1656, in Duxbury. His will, a testament to his faith and familial bonds, entrusted his estate to his wife, Barbara, and their children. Standish's contributions extended beyond his military service. He was a foundational figure in establishing legal frameworks and community structures within the colony. Standish's enduring legacy is commemorated by the Myles Standish Monument, a 116-foot granite structure in Duxbury, completed in stages between 1872 and 1898. The monument symbolizes the gratitude of subsequent generations for his pivotal role in safeguarding the fledgling colony. His name endures in various forms, from geographic landmarks like the Myles Standish State Forest to institutions that honor his pioneering spirit. In reflecting upon the life of Myles Standish, one recognizes the profound impact of his leadership during a critical juncture in American history. His blend of military expertise, strategic acumen, and compassionate stewardship was instrumental in the survival and growth of the Plymouth Colony. Standish's story is emblematic of the challenges faced by early settlers, navigating the complexities of new beginnings in an unfamiliar land. His legacy invites us to consider the intricate interplay of courage, diplomacy, and community in the forging of a nation. Thank you for joining us in this comprehensive exploration of Myles Standish, the steadfast guardian of the Pilgrims, and a foundational figure in the tapestry of American heritage.